So this is what I call ground activation, and this is going to be your opportunity to really work on your core and your ability to really get strong from the ground up. So what we'll do is we'll just get on the floor. Make sure you're on a comfortable surface. And you could use a bath towel. Sometimes people have yoga mats at home. And if you don't, that's fine. Rug where you're comfortable, or a bath mat or pool towel. So what I want to do is I want to start basically with a 90-90. So my legs are up at 90 degrees. My chest and shoulders, my arms are out at 90. And I'm basically just going to drop down to the left and then drop down to the right. So we're going to start with this. So this is upper body is staying stable, right? And the lower body begins to rotate. So what I feel here is I feel everything working in my core, in my hips, and it gives me the opportunity to separate my upper and lower body, which is something that's really important in golf. Now, if you're not strong enough to do that, just drop your heels down, put your legs together, and drop left and right, and left and right. So this is a great way to feel like this great sense of mobility, and then you can feel the separation as well. Okay, so next, I basically just want you to kick your leg up and then drop it down, bring it back up and drop it down. Okay, so remember, arms are your anchor point. Sometimes you're going to feel them if you're tight in your thoracic or your chest and shoulders. Don't worry about that. Just go ahead and do what you can. And if you can't get your leg up that high, just drop it a little lower. It's very effective. What you do to the one side, you want to do to the other. So I feel this activate my abdominals. I feel it in my hamstrings. And then as I rotate all the way up the midline of my body, my low back to my mid back, and I feel this great sense of pull and opportunity to open my chest and shoulders. Okay, from there, let's go right into a bridge where we're just going to go right up to the neutral position. And I love the fact that we don't have to count reps, because reps are not as important as feel. So if you feel like you can get to 10, that's great. If you feel like you want to do 15, no problem. I just want you to understand what it is that you're doing. All right, let me show you the bridge from the side. So what you want to make sure that you do is you don't want to have your feet too far out in front of you, because it's too much quad, not enough glute. And be careful how close you put them or how far you can get your heels back towards your glutes. So once you're in the right position, you should be able to actually come up to that position where your belt line and your chest are in a line with one another. All right, so the next thing I want you guys to do is I want you to put your right foot flat on the ground. And I want you to actually pick up your toe and push through your heel all the way up with one leg. And if you notice, my leg isn't lifting too high and it's not too low. It lifts at the same time. It's moving in sync with the rest of my body, right? And you're going to feel a tremendous amount of pressure in the quad and the glute. And I mean, these are things you might have to manage that you can't get to a certain number. Don't get stuck with numbers. Make sure that you continue to feel these movements. Hey, if you get to 5 and you're fatigued, that's great. If you get to 15 and go, I can do 20, go for it. I always love to make sure I balance out the body, so I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. And if you look at my left foot, flat on the ground, pick up the toe, drive through the heel so you activate the glute. I feel a tremendous amount of load and contraction in my quad as well as my glute. So those are two of the really great opportunities to create glute quad activation, and you do incorporate low back and abdominals. All right, so from there, let's just go ahead and roll over onto the side. This is a very universal, everybody knows how to do planks, but I love them in the ground-based activation and strength protocol. So what I always say is make sure that alignment creates opportunity for you to do everything correctly and be safe. So you want to make sure that the elbow and shoulder are in line, and make sure that your hips don't get lazy and roll too far forward or backward. And your legs are straight together, hand on hip. You're just going to bridge straight up, hold it for a beat, and back down. So straight up, hold it for a beat, and back down. I'm going to do 5, 3, and 4, and 5. Well, how about for the people out there that are even more advanced? I tell you, challenge yourself, and let's go ahead and pick up your arm, pick up your leg, and go ahead and hold this. Now, you might say, I'm going to get to 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15, 20, 30. For you people that are really strong, go ahead and put that into your routine as well if you want to challenge yourself even further. Okay, so moving along, I want to go just roll over onto your hands and knees. And what I love about this next movement is everybody probably knows about cat-cow. Sometimes people have different names for it. The opportunity is you can actually take the spine and put it into flexion and then slowly into extension. And this is a great move to give your body the ability to feel your spine and feel the muscles around your spine. It also works deep into the low back and the hips, but it's great for mobility. So just remember, nice passive movements. Feel like you're driving your abdomen up and you're rounding your back, and then go ahead and just arch your back as much as you can. Drive your abdomen back down to the floor and just reach your gaze straight up. I'm going to do 5 and 4. This feels really good, and it's great at this point of the ground activation just to open everything up. 3, 2, and 1. One of the tour favorites, or the things that I love about staying golf specific, is actually the elbow drop. And it makes me feel like, right, I'm taking a backswing with one arm. So I love that, right? So this move, if you're saying, well, why do you do this? If you're not familiar with some of the stuff we do, or what happens on tour, or an opportunity to stay golf fit while we're home and confined in a space, think about everything that we're doing is, what does this mean and how will it help me to stay, active and in that golf mentality? So here we go. Elbow drops down to the forearm and open everything up. Gaze lifts, 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Now, here's a tip for people that have limited mobility. Go ahead and bring the left leg forward and the right leg back. And now I can open up a little bit more freely. So for those of you that struggle with limited mobility in your thoracic or mid-back, that's a great opportunity to do this well without straining yourself. Okay, so moving on with a little bit more coordination, balance, and opportunity, we're going to go elbow to knee. And you're staying in that same position, which is what I call tabletop, or 4 pillars, 1, 2, 3, 4. So from here, I want you to actually reach your left arm forward and then your right leg back. So it's opposites. And then bring your elbow to your knee and repeat. 1 and 2. Good. 3, 4, and 5. Remember what I said. I'm doing 5 now. You might want to do 10, 15, or 20. Passive as you want, as aggressive as you want. I'm going to do the other side. So here we go. 1 and 2 and 3, 4, and 5. As I go through this, let me talk you through some of what you should feel. The ability for your arm to extend out. You get shoulder joint activation and mobility. Then I feel my glute and my hamstring and my hip opening up. And as I bring it down, that's when I get my abdomen and my abdominals contracted. So this is a really great total body movement as well. Okay, so I want to finish with abdominals, so I'm going to roll back over onto my back, and I'm going to do what I love, 3 of my favorite movements. So if you're not strong enough in this position, just remember you just tap your heels down. You can get pretty much the same effect. I'm going to start with my legs up at 90. And basically, I'm going to put my hands gently behind my head, and instead of pulling on my head, I'm just going to actually take my torso and bring it up just about 2 to 3 inches. Right? So it's actually feel like your chest is moving up towards the ceiling. Don't crank your head and your neck. It's dangerous, and it doesn't work your abdominals. So here we go. Chest up, arms out, and begin. 1, contract your abs and blow out. 2, and 3, and 4, and 5. Now, slightly bent knees, Arms extended out. If you can't touch your toes, that's fine. Reach up, exhale, and reach for your feet. 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Now from there, hands right down on the ground. You want to drop your legs down about 20 degrees, kick them up, and just raise your hips and feet straight up towards the ceiling. 3 and 4 and 5. Okay, that was the ground activation. I don't know how you feel, but what really matters and what's really important is, did you pay attention to every movement? Were you focused on what should I feel? What am I doing and why does this matter? So everything that we're working on creates an opportunity for you to create blood flow, awareness, muscles contracting. These are the things that are important when you're sedentary and you're sitting around and your gyms are closed and your pools are closed and your driving ranges are closed and everything recreationally you can't do. You get to work on this program and you're going to feel a lot better. Remember, people always ask, Coach, how many times, how many reps? Please don't get caught up in that mentality. Feel is what I always say you should be working towards. Are you isolating? Are you identifying? And are you working on something that actually is beneficial?